Chosen one, pause for a moment and listen with your spirit, not just your ears. Heaven is leaning close right now. The breath of eternity is brushing past you, and this is not just another message on a screen, it is a divine interruption. Heaven is calling your attention because your next move matters more than you realize. There's someone tugging at your soul, someone from the past or perhaps someone from your present that keeps reaching into your space with a message, a text, a whisper. And right now, everything inside you is tempted to respond, to explain, to go back and forth, to prove yourself. But heaven is warning you with urgency. Do not text them back. Heaven is watching your choice. You are not ordinary. You are set apart. That is why your choices carry weight far beyond what you can see. The words you speak or type are not just communication. They are contracts in the spirit. They are alignments. They are doorways. And heaven is guarding the doorway of your destiny right now, because there are hands trying to pull you into an old cycle you were never meant to repeat. You may feel the ache of unanswered questions. You may crave closure, or even just a simple explanation. But God is whispering, the silence is your protection. Not every call deserves your voice. Not every invitation deserves your presence. And not every message deserves your reply. Chosen one, you are stepping into a divine test, disguised as a casual notification. That glowing screen, that ping, that vibration in your pocket is not random. It is strategic. It is heaven watching to see if you will guard your oil, guard your peace, guard your assignment, because the wrong text sent in the wrong moment could detour months, even years, of spiritual progress. And yet, hidden in your restraint is a blessing. Hidden in your silence is a doorway opening that no enemy can shut. By choosing not to respond, you are writing your yes to heaven's plan. By resisting the urge to explain, you are proving your trust in God's vindication. And by standing still, you are allowing the battle to be fought for you rather than by you. You may not see it yet, but your destiny is tied to this moment of silence. Heaven has already prepared something greater on the horizon, and it begins with this act of obedience. In the chapters ahead, I will show you why this test matters, what blessing is attached to your restraint, and how to walk forward with divine confidence. But first, remember this: you are chosen, and because you are chosen, you cannot afford to move like everyone else. Heaven is watching, and your choice will echo in eternity. And this is why the silence matters. Heaven is not asking you to stay still without reason. It is because there is something larger unfolding, something your spirit can sense but your eyes cannot yet see. You are being entrusted with a divine moment, and trust is not built in noise but in the quiet where obedience takes root. God has been watching the conversations you've entertained, the people you've allowed into your inner circle, and the way you've poured out words as though they were limitless. But words are not cheap. They carry weight. They create bond. They tie destinies together. And when you are called to a higher purpose, heaven begins to guard your language like a sacred treasure. The text you feel tempted to send, the reply you feel burning in your fingers, it is not just about communication, it is about covenant. To answer would mean stepping back into an old agreement that God already dissolved. That is why the Spirit is whispering so strongly right now. Hold back. Do not engage. Do not be lured into defending yourself in a space where vindication has already been secured on your behalf. This word comes not from opinion, not from chance, but from the throne itself. The one who knows the end from the beginning, the Alpha and the Omega, is guiding you. This instruction is not casual, it is eternal. Heaven does not waste words. And when a message arrives this urgently, it means the timing is critical. Think about the pattern of your journey. Every elevation has been preceded by a test. Every breakthrough has demanded a choice. Sometimes the test is dramatic, like standing before giants. Other times it is subtle, like choosing whether to press send on a screen glowing in the night. But make no mistake, subtle does not mean small. Subtle is where destinies shift, because it proves where your allegiance truly lies. The same God who parted seas, who silenced lions, who whispered in burning bushes, is the God who is whispering to you now. And this whisper is just as powerful as the thunder on Sinai. It may not come with lightning, but it comes with eternal weight. Understand that the restraint you show now is not weakness. It is power hidden in plain sight. Heaven has placed angels on assignment around you, ready to strengthen your spirit when the temptation rises. Even as you hear this, the Spirit is wrapping you in clarity. That restless pull inside you is being replaced with stillness, because God is confirming that you are not meant to go back, not meant to engage, not meant to prove yourself to those who never carried the grace to understand you in the first place. This is the setup for what comes next. By choosing silence, you create space for heaven to speak on your behalf. You create room for the unseen hand of God to move, and you set in motion a chain of events that will make sense only when you look back and see how much was preserved by one act of obedience. So breathe. Let the urge to respond dissolve. Let the weight of vindication rest on God, not on your words. What is about to be revealed will show you why this instruction was given, and why your destiny demanded silence at this exact moment. The reason the restraint feels so heavy is because it is connected to prophecy. What you are holding back from is not just a conversation, but an old chain that was designed to keep you bound. And the silence you choose today is not just silence, it is prophecy fulfilled in real time. Heaven has already written the script of your unfolding. There are people who were once allowed to walk with you, but their chapter has closed. And yet, the enemy loves to send echoes from the past, hoping to reopen what heaven has already sealed. That sudden message, that late-night text, that unexpected notification, it is not coincidence. It is the bait of a cycle. It is the spirit of delay dressed up as casual connection. But prophecy says you are stepping into a new season where old cycles will break. The door that once kept you returning to the same disappointments, the same battles, the same confusion, that door is now closed. And your choice to remain silent is what locks it forever. The prophecy over your life says you will not return to Egypt once you have been delivered. You will not wander back into deserts you have already crossed. You will not waste years proving your worth to those who were never equipped to see it. In this season, prophecy is being unveiled. You are transitioning into a time of clarity where the voice of heaven will become louder than the voice of distraction. You are being prepared for relationships built on destiny, not dysfunction. You are being aligned with people who will not pull you into games of manipulation, but will speak life into your assignment. And it begins here with this one test of silence. Picture it. The enemy waits like a fisherman, dangling bait in the water, hoping you will bite so you can be dragged back into nets of confusion. But prophecy declares that you will walk past the bait. You will resist the pull. You will stand in alignment with heaven, and your silence will be louder than any response you could ever type. Prophecy also reveals the blessing that waits on the other side. Once you pass this test, there is an acceleration coming. Conversations you were meant to have, divine appointments, holy alignments will open quickly. Doors that seemed locked will swing wide. Opportunities that felt delayed will suddenly arrive. The moment you prove you are no longer swayed by counterfeit connections, heaven releases the authentic ones. And do not mistake this. The temptation feels strong only because the breakthrough is stronger. The weight of the test mirrors the size of the blessing. That is why it burns inside you, to explain yourself, to justify, to go back and forth. The enemy knows that if he can trap you with words now, he can stall the words of blessing waiting to be spoken over you in the next season. But heaven is unveiling the truth. You are in a prophetic threshold moment. The silence you choose is not weakness, it is alignment. The restraint you show is not lack, it is abundance waiting to manifest. This is how you prove to heaven that you trust God's timing over your own tongue. In the Spirit, the scroll of your life is opening. Angels are marking this chapter as a turning point. What was once written in uncertainty is now being stamped with clarity. Where there was once confusion, there will be peace. Where there were endless cycles, there will now be forward movement. And all of it begins because you chose not to respond to a text that looked small but carried eternal weight. Remember, prophecy rarely looks grand in the moment. David was anointed while still smelling of sheep. Moses was called while hiding in desert dust. Esther's moment came behind palace doors. In the same way, your destiny is shifting in something as simple as a choice to stay silent. Do not underestimate the weight of this. Do not despise the small moment. This is where the prophecy is unveiled. The silence you are being asked to hold is not empty. It is filled with layers of meaning that stretch deep into the spiritual realm. This is more than ignoring a message. This is more than declining to reply. It is a statement of trust. It is a declaration in the unseen world that your loyalty belongs to heaven, not to fleeting emotions or unfinished conversations. Think of silence as a seed. At first, it looks like nothing, just a small hidden act. But buried in the soil of obedience, that seed begins to grow roots. Those roots dig deep, anchoring you into destiny. Every time you resist the urge to text back, to explain yourself, to be pulled into drama, those roots stretch further. And soon, what once felt like restraint will reveal itself as strength. There is a spiritual principle here. Doors close louder than words. When God shuts a chapter, it is not your job to reopen it. Yet often, the enemy tempts us to use words as crowbars, prying open relationships that were never meant to last. That is why heaven is calling you into silence. It is not punishment, it is protection. It is God saying, trust me to handle what you cannot. You are learning that not every battle requires your voice. Some battles require your silence. Silence is not passivity, it is an active shield. It says, I refuse to align with what heaven has already rejected. It says, I will not trade my peace for the chaos of unfinished conversations. It says, I trust that vindication belongs to the Lord, not to my ability to explain. This is also about timing. Divine timing is precise, sharper than any blade. What may feel like waiting or holding back is actually the Spirit synchronizing your steps with heaven's calendar. A single misplaced reply could shift the alignment of that timing. That is why restraint is critical. By staying still, you remain in rhythm with eternity. Imagine a symphony. Every instrument has a moment to play, and if even one note comes too soon, the harmony collapses. Your silence is heaven, ensuring your part in the symphony comes in at the exact right moment. Do not rush into the wrong sound. Do not play a note that heaven never wrote into your song. Consider storms. When thunder rages, lightning cracks, and the winds howl, the trees that survive are the ones that dig deep. They don't chase after the storm. They don't argue with the rain. They simply stand, anchored, rooted, and when the storm passes, they remain, stronger than before. Your silence is that rootedness. It is saying, I will not be moved. There is also a journey hidden in this. Think back to the Israelites at the Red Sea. They faced an impossible choice: go back to Egypt where slavery was certain, or trust God to do something unthinkable. And what did God say through Moses? The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. That is your command in this season. Be still. The waters will part when they are meant to part. Even Jesus modeled this. When accused, when mocked, when questioned, he often stayed silent, not because he had no words, but because he knew that silence was the most powerful response. It disarmed enemies, it proved authority, it showed trust in the Father's plan. You are walking in that same authority now. And there is one more layer, the symbolism of doors. A closed door does not always mean rejection. Often, it means protection. When Noah's family entered the ark, God himself shut the door. That door separated them from destruction. Likewise, the silence you hold now is God shutting a door. It may feel like rejection, but it is actually divine insulation, keeping you safe from storms that were never meant to touch you. So, understand, your silence is not just absence of words, it is presence of faith. It is the substance of trust filling the unseen. It is heaven writing in your story. Here they chose me. Here they proved their loyalty. Here they aligned their destiny with mine. Let the storm rage. Let the notifications ping. Let the temptation press. You will stand firm. And when you do, you will see the spiritual depth of this test revealed in the blessings that flow afterward. What feels like loss now is actually gain. What looks like withholding now is actually release. What sounds like silence now is actually heaven speaking on your behalf. When heaven gives an instruction, it does not leave you blind. Confirmation always follows. Subtle, quiet, almost hidden but undeniable once you pay attention. Right now, signs are already appearing around you, marking this silence as divine. These are not coincidences. They are whispers, signals, breadcrumbs pointing to the truth of what has been spoken. One sign you may notice is restlessness lifting. The moment you choose not to reply, a strange peace begins to wash over you. It's almost as if your spirit sighs in relief, like it knew all along that the response would have opened a door to confusion. That inner stillness, that sudden quiet in your chest, is heaven confirming you did the right thing. Another sign is the exposure of motives. You may notice that the one reaching out grows impatient or frustrated when you don't respond. Their persistence or sudden disappearance reveals what they were after in the first place. When someone is sent only to disturb your peace, their mask falls off when you refuse to engage. Heaven allows this so you can see clearly what was once hidden. A third sign comes through divine repetition. Pay attention. You may start hearing sermons, songs, or even casual conversations that echo the same message. Be still. Don't look back. Trust God's timing. These repetitions are not random. They are confirmations. Heaven will often echo its instructions through multiple channels until your spirit locks onto the truth. Another confirmation is in the area of dreams. Some of you will notice your dreams shifting. Where there was once chaos, arguments, or old faces chasing you, suddenly the atmosphere changes. You may dream of walking away from old houses, shutting doors, or stepping into new rooms filled with light. These dreams are prophetic images, heaven's way of showing your spirit what your silence is accomplishing in the unseen realm. You may also encounter the sign of unexpected clarity. Suddenly, things that once confused you begin to make sense. Patterns from your past relationships come into focus. You recognize cycles for what they were, and in that recognition, you feel empowered. This clarity is not just intellectual, it is spiritual, sight-opening wider than before. And one more sign, the arrival of divine substitutes. As you close the door to unhealthy connections, heaven begins to usher in healthier voices, uplifting friendships, or even mentors and allies who pour into your purpose. You might notice a new person appearing just as the old one fades. This is not coincidence, it is confirmation that heaven never removes without replacing, never subtracts without multiplying. These signs are heaven's gentle fingerprints, reminders that you are not walking blindly. They appear to strengthen your resolve, to reassure you that your silence is not in vain. Every signal, every dream, every echo is heaven whispering, you are on the right path. Keep going, do not look back. When you begin to notice these confirmations, don't dismiss them. Write them down, treasure them. Let them anchor you when temptation rises again. Because these signs are proof that God Himself is walking with you, guiding you step by step, even through the quiet. But before fulfillment comes, there will be resistance. Heaven's confirmations bring peace, yes, but they do not erase the challenges. In fact, the very act of silence will stir hidden struggles that test the deepest parts of you. These challenges are not punishments, they are refinements. They exist to sharpen your discernment, to anchor your trust, and to ensure that when the blessing arrives, you are ready to hold it. The first challenge is the pull of loneliness. Silence can feel like absence. You may sit with your phone glowing in your hand, wondering if ignoring that text means shutting the door forever. The enemy will whisper, "You'll be alone if you let this go." But hear this clearly. Loneliness is not a curse. It is a training ground. God allows this moment so you can learn the difference between empty company and sacred solitude. Another challenge is the ache of curiosity. You may find yourself wondering, what if I had answered? What would they have said? What if this time it's different? This ache is a trap. Curiosity tries to lure you back into cycles already broken. Remember, not every question deserves an answer, and not every story needs closure from human lips. Sometimes heaven writes the ending for you. Then comes the challenge of misunderstanding. Others may not see the weight of your silence. They might tell you you're being too harsh, too distant, too unforgiving. Their voices may rise against your decision, urging you to soften. But discernment means you obey the whisper of God over the noise of people. Your silence is not cruelty, it is obedience to divine instruction. Another hidden struggle is the battle of memory. Old moments will replay in your mind. Nostalgia will paint pictures of the past in brighter colors than reality ever held. You may remember laughter, warmth, connection, but forget the pain, the confusion, the constant draining of your spirit. Memory is selective, and the enemy loves to use it to glamorize what God has already removed. Stay anchored in truth, not in romanticized recollections. And then, perhaps the hardest challenge, the wait. Silence is not a one-time act, it is sustained. You may feel strong in the first hour of ignoring the text, but what about the second day, the third week, the fourth month? Waiting tests patience like fire tests gold. But remember, every day you choose silence, your spirit grows stronger. Every moment you refuse to break, heaven marks it as faithfulness. All of these challenges, loneliness, curiosity, misunderstanding, memory, waiting, they are not designed to crush you. They are designed to prove you. They reveal the weight of your assignment and prepare you for the magnitude of what comes next. The same God who instructed silence will sustain you in it. So when the loneliness bites, remind yourself that God fills empty rooms. When curiosity rises, tell yourself that heaven knows what you don't need to. When misunderstanding comes, hold fast to the voice that matters most. When memories replay, recall the truth of why you left. And when the waiting stretches, believe that time itself is being redeemed on your behalf. These challenges are not the end of your story. They are the refining fire that proves your faith genuine. On the other side of them lies clarity, freedom, and divine fulfillment. And you will see, in hindsight, that every struggle was worth the silence you held. Now comes the part where heaven shifts from warning to direction. You have been told what not to do. Do not text back. Do not reopen the old door. Do not let curiosity pull you into cycles already broken. But God is never a God of subtraction without addition. When He asks you to withhold, it is only to make room for what you must step into. This is the season not just of restraint, but of instruction. The first instruction is to guard your oil. Your energy, your words, your spirit are precious. Every time you engage in fruitless conversations, you pour out oil that was meant to keep your lamp burning. This is why the parable of the 10 virgins carries so much weight. Some were wise, storing their oil, and others were foolish, pouring it out. In this season, wisdom means saying no to distractions, so your oil is preserved for divine encounters. Guard it like treasure, because it island. The second instruction is to anchor your mind. The temptation to overthink will try to erode your peace. The enemy will replay old words, stir old wounds, and provoke questions without answers. Heaven instructs you to take every thought captive, bringing it under the authority of Christ. This is not passive, it is active warfare. When the thought rises, you respond with truth. I am not called to go back. I am called forward. Anchor your mind in the promises, not in the noise. The third instruction is to nurture your altar. When silence stretches long, the best thing you can do is fill it with prayer. Build your altar daily, whether that means whispered prayers in the morning, scripture read aloud at night, or songs of worship flowing in the background of your day. Every time you choose prayer over response, you are feeding your spirit. Every time you choose worship over words, you are shifting the atmosphere. This is how you stay strong in the test. The fourth instruction is to walk in newness. The enemy tempts you to look back, but heaven urges you to step forward. That means creating space for new rhythms. Journal your revelations, speak life into your environment. Surround yourself with people who water your spirit instead of draining it. Each step you take in newness proves that you are not bound by yesterday. The fifth instruction is to release forgiveness. Silence without forgiveness becomes bitterness, but silence with forgiveness becomes power. Heaven asks you to release what was done, not for their sake, but for yours. Unforgiveness is a chain, and your silence must not be mistaken for resentment. Instead, let it be the sound of freedom. Speak forgiveness in prayer, even if your heart trembles while doing it, and you will notice the weight lifting. And finally, the sixth instruction: wait with expectancy. Silence is not void, it is not emptiness. It is a holding pattern filled with potential energy. Like an arrow pulled back in a bow, your silence is the tension before release. Heaven instructs you not to despair in the wait, but to anticipate. Expect the blessing, expect the shift. Expect the door to open. Do not let silence turn into hopelessness. Let it become the stage where faith performs its greatest act. Each of these instructions, guarding your oil, anchoring your mind, nurturing your altar, walking in newness, releasing forgiveness, waiting with expectancy, are not suggestions. They are holy steps. They are how you transform silence from simply ignoring a text into aligning with prophecy. They turn restraint into obedience, obedience into alignment, and alignment into breakthrough. Take them seriously, write them down, live them daily. The test is not just about what you refuse to do, it is about how you choose to live in the meantime. And if you follow these divine instructions, you will not only pass the test, you will step into blessings greater than you have imagined. This is not just heaven telling you to hold back, it is heaven preparing you for forward motion. Your silence is the seed, but these instructions are the water, and together they will bring forth a harvest in due time. The moment you obey, something unseen shifts around you. What you may not realize is that silence activates a shield. Heaven does not leave you exposed while you wait. Protection rises like a wall, like fire on every side, securing you in ways you cannot measure but can surely feel. You may notice it in subtle ways first. The anxiety that once gnawed at you begins to dissolve. The constant second-guessing that kept you awake at night softens into rest. That is not just you calming yourself, that is divine protection wrapping itself around your spirit. It is the peace that passes all understanding, descending like a mantle. And this protection is layered. There is angelic protection messengers on assignment to guard your steps. Scripture says he commands his angels concerning you to keep you in all your ways. Even in the moments when temptation presses hardest, there are heavenly forces positioned to strengthen you. You do not see them, but they are standing guard, intercepting attacks meant to break your resolve. There is also emotional protection. God knows your heart has been bruised before. Words have cut deep, promises have been broken. That is why, in this season, he shields you from repeating the same wound. He is binding up the tender places, covering the raw edges, and ensuring that no careless message reopens scars. He has already begun to heal. Then there is the protection of clarity. Confusion used to cloud your judgment, making manipulation easy. But now, clarity shines like a lamp on your path. Where once you would have doubted yourself, you now feel conviction. That inner knowing, that steady awareness, Is God safeguarding your discernment so you are not deceived again? And finally, there is protection of destiny. Your silence is not just keeping you safe in the present, it is preserving what is ahead. By refusing to step into traps, you are keeping the future pure, the path clear, the alignment intact. This is heaven's assurance. Nothing designed to distract you will succeed, because you are covered. So rest in this truth: you are not walking alone. Your silence is not leaving you vulnerable. On the contrary, it is surrounding you with stronger walls than any words could build. When you feel weak, remember that heaven is strong for you. When you feel tempted, recall that divine hands are steadying you. When you feel isolated, know that you are actually encircled. Take comfort in this assurance. You are held, you are covered, you are kept. The same God who asked you to stay silent is the God who will protect you through the silence. And when the time comes, that same God will reveal why you were guarded so closely all along. Every test has a reward, and every season of restraint leads to a season of release. The silence you've carried, the battles you've endured, the waiting you've surrendered to, none of it is wasted. Heaven does not let obedience go unrewarded. What begins as withholding ends as fulfillment. And this is the promise. Transformation is already unfolding within you, and fulfillment is closer than you think. Transformation looks like strength rising where weakness once lived. Where you used to be pulled back into old cycles by a single message, now you stand firm. What once shook you no longer moves you. That shift is evidence that you have grown. Heaven has been refining you in the quiet, and you are not the same as before. Transformation also looks like vision sharpening. Your eyes begin to see what they could not before. Red flags appear brighter. Patterns become clear. Your spirit knows almost instantly what aligns with destiny and what doesn't. This clarity is not coincidence. It is the fruit of obedience. Because you chose silence, God is giving you sight. Then comes the fulfillment. What you released, heaven is replacing with greater. Relationships built on truth, not deception. Opportunities that don't drain but multiply. Open doors that don't lead to cycles but to purpose. You begin to notice that while one message went unanswered, 1,000 better ones began to form around you. Some in the spirit, some in the natural. This is fulfillment manifesting in your life. And it isn't just external, it is deeply internal. Fulfillment feels like peace settling where chaos once lived. It feels like joy bubbling up even without explanation. It feels like gratitude for the lessons, even the painful ones, because you now see how they positioned you for growth. That inner fulfillment is heaven's seal, marking you as one who endured and overcame. There is also a prophetic promise attached. The very space you created by saying nothing will be filled by heaven's voice. Doors will open not because you texted back, but because you held your peace. People meant for your future will arrive not through manipulation, but through divine appointment. The fulfillment will be undeniable because it will carry ease instead of striving, blessing instead of bargaining. You will look back and realize that your silence was the loudest declaration you ever made. It said, "I choose destiny." It said, "I trust God more than my feelings." It said, "I am done with cycles that steal my oil." That choice has shifted timelines. That choice has aligned you with what was written long before you ever faced this test. So imagine the days to come. Imagine walking into rooms where your name is honored, not questioned. Imagine conversations that flow with encouragement, not manipulation. Imagine doors opening simply because you stayed faithful in silence. That is what fulfillment looks like, and that is the direction you are heading. You are being transformed into someone who no longer bends under pressure but stands like a pillar, and you are stepping into fulfillment that proves obedience is never wasted. Heaven is smiling over you, whispering, "Well done. You trusted me, and now I will reward you openly." This is your turning point. Transformation is not coming, it is here. Fulfillment is not far, it is unfolding. and the silence you chose will echo forever as the choice that changed everything. Now that the word has been spoken and the message sealed, let this final portion rest on you like oil poured from heaven's hand. What you have endured, what you have resisted, what you have chosen in silence has marked you. And before this moment closes, let affirmations rise like anchors for your soul, short, sharp, powerful truths you can carry into every day that follows. Repeat them aloud. Let them settle into your spirit. I am aligned with heaven's will, and nothing can pull me out of it. My silence is strength, my peace is proof, and my obedience is my victory. I will not return to what God has already released me from. I am covered, I am chosen, I am walking forward into fulfillment. Say them until they echo inside you, until the weight of them pushes back every whisper of doubt. These affirmations are not just words, they are declarations. They are shields in the spirit. Every time you speak them, you reinforce the wall of protection God has placed around you. And now, receive this blessing. May the silence you've chosen become a song in heaven's ears. May the doors that were once open to confusion remain sealed forever. And may new doors of peace, clarity, and destiny swing wide at the appointed time. May your oil remain full, your lamp burn bright, and your path shine clearer with every step forward. May your spirit never again be entangled in cycles that drained you, and may your heart never again be lured by voices that could not carry your worth. May you rise with the confidence of one who is watched over by heaven, and may your life radiate the proof that obedience brings blessing. You are not leaving this message the same way you entered it. You are leaving fortified, empowered, and aligned. Heaven has spoken, the prophecy has been unveiled, and the silence you carry has become sacred. From this day forward, you walk not in uncertainty, but in assurance, not in fear, but in faith, not in cycles, but in freedom. So take one more breath, steady yourself, and walk forward in confidence. The text you never sent has already shifted your destiny. The silence you held has already unlocked heaven's next chapter. And now, the blessing is sealed. You are kept, you are covered, and you are crowned with peace. It is done.